Good day. Good day. I was going to say good afternoon, but that's centering my own place in the world. Looking for a reason, got to find my place in this world. Is that Michael W. Smith? So I don't know if it's afternoon for you. So that's why at the last second I bailed and went with good day. But maybe it's also because subconsciously I know that we often have Australians joining the show. So maybe I was speaking directly to you down under. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Altar with me, your host, Colby Martin. I'm really looking forward to today's show because I've got what I predict will be a new friend on the show, Matt Bays. I can't call him friend yet. We don't know each other yet. So maybe at the end of this episode, I will ask Matt if we succeeded in becoming friends, and then I could say my new friend Matt Bays, but for now, it's just my new friend in waiting. Matt Bays, author of the newly released memoir, Leather and Lace. Can't wait to get into that with Matt and with you, because as always, you are part of the show. You are welcome to comment and ask questions and engage. It's better when we're together, to quote the prophet Jack Johnson. All that and more on The Altar. Glad you're here. Yes, Marty Pritchard, thank you for the reminder. Also Kiwis. Did not mean to make any offense to all of those that are down under. Hey, what's up, Dave Crothers? Yes, I remember. This is Hartman. Did you change your screen name, or do you have multiple accounts? You don't have to answer that. Maybe you changed your screen name for really valid reasons and you can't divulge it. Maybe you're in witness protection. In which case, I know you can either confirm or deny. So, Dave, your secret is safe with me and with us. Who else we got here? We've got Mercy. I bet Mercy's excited for the show. Why is that, Merce? Go ahead. Tell the show maybe why specifically you are excited. What is it? What do you have to do with the show, Mercy Morgan? Could it be everything? Yes, I think that might be the answer. Hi, Brooke. So glad that you're here. Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Shane? Coming in hot from the Northeast. Shane says, I never know what to say to that. Do I say afternoon if it's morning where I am, or vice versa? I don't know. That was part of why I bailed at the last minute, Shane, and just went with good day. So maybe those down under they're onto something. Although, if it's evening where they're at, Aussies, do you say good evening? Or does good day work for all of the hours? Wow, these are the hard-hitting topics that we dive into here on The Altar. This is why you tune in. I am sure of it. We got Odette coming in from Puerto Rico. Hello, Odette. So glad you're with us. Hello, James Seamus. Happy Wednesday to you, everybody. Hey, there's Barry Cashman. Barry Cashman, welcome back. Yep, that's the answer, Mercy. Mercy is the one that connected the aforementioned potential future friend Matt Bays with myself. She did this cold Facebook message and said, hello, Colby. Hello, Matt. Meet. And we did. Virtually. And today will be the first, I almost said IRL, but I guess it's still virtual. But you know what I mean, where it's beyond just the messaging and it's into the semi face-to-face, the pixelated face-to-face. We got lockdown. PJ's rule. Sorry about the lockdown. I don't know how I feel about all the lockdowns and all the quarantines. I don't know how I feel about a lot of it. It changes from week to week. I do know how I feel about the vaccines. Get vaccinated. This to me feels like common sense. But then all the other rules and regulations and quarantines and attempt to, I don't know. I don't know. I know that it sucks. Obviously, I think we all agree with that. Nobody likes lockdown and quarantine. Mark is coming in from Namibia. Almost good morning there. It's evening. And wait, so like it's evening, almost morning. How late is it there in Namibia, Mark? Any hoozle, which is a great phrase if you've never had a chance to try it out. I like to do a little segment where I check in with you even more specifically than I have thus far, and I call it the viewer sound off. With a really intense question to get you commenting, to get your thumbs working out. What concert is still on your bucket list? Hit me with it. Let me know. What's a concert that you have not yet seen that you would really like to see either before you die or before they break up or before they die? So you can't, if they're already, like, the Beatles is too late, y'all. Like, you've missed the boat on that one. But maybe Sir Paul would be on your bucket list. But anyway, what concert is still on your bucket list? I'll tell you one that is on my bucket list that I get to check off in about 5 weeks. My wife got us tickets. We're going to go together for my anniversary. It's all about me. It is my bucket list. Our anniversary, she got us tickets so we can go see the Avett Brothers. Very excited about this. I love the Avett Brothers. And they're playing with Willie Nelson, who also, I don't know if you ever heard of Willie Nelson, but that should be a pretty sweet show. So that's super fun. And then I got Kate for our anniversary. We each got each other a concert. I think we were desperate for live music again. I got her concert tickets for this Sunday in San Diego to see John Legend, which is on Kate's. But I love John Legend, but Kate loves John Legend. So we're going to go see him this Sunday. It's an outdoor amphitheater. So it's as safe as it can be. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. So we've got John Legend this Sunday, and then like 4 weeks from then we've got Willie Nelson and the Avett Brothers. Whew. Come on. All right, let's see who we got here. Who is on your bucket list to see in concert? Susan, I'm sorry you're exhausted. I know you've been going through, and it's been a lot, but I'm glad that you're here, and you're welcome to stick around with whatever energy level you might have. Mercy says Heathens. Yes, that's true. Wouldn't that be so fantastic if either you came to us sometime or they came to Minnesota? Gustavo says Hillsong. Too many to mention, says James. Well, just list one, try. Stevie Wonder. Good choice there. One with Flamey Grant, Ben and Kate. Wow, we've got another. Them Heathens are popular. We gotta figure out how to get y'all out here. Bon Jovi, says Julie. Great answer. Annie Lennox and Sting in a lounge bar with you, Marty, sitting right in front. Solid. Wicked, Gustavo. It's so good. I have seen it, I think, twice. It's so good. Oh, Mercy trying to butter my bread. Oh, yeah. Heathens with special guest. Yeah. You were too late. That ship sailed. You can't add me in after the fact. Shane says, you too. Great. Oh, Lindsay Sterling. Yes. Fantastic. I got to run sound one time when she was doing her thing. She's incredible. Eurovision. Wouldn't that be so fun? I'm probably one of the many Americans who had no idea what Eurovision was until Will Ferrell made a movie about it for Netflix. But now that I know, I think that would be really fantastic as well. Ben doesn't really enjoy live concerts. That's fine. No shame in that. Time travel. Okay, Barry wants to break the rules and go see Nina Simone. That's fine. You can break the rules. Time travel to see Nina Simone. Two cellos and John Mayer. Odette, I also want to go to that concert. I did get to see John Mayer a number of years ago. I was living in Arizona, and I was one of my friends down there at the time. He worked for Fender in their custom department, And so he knew John pretty well because he helped John design his guitars. And so one time when John was coming through Phoenix, my friend got my wife and I not just tickets to go to John Denver, John Mayer in Phoenix. Denver has nothing to do with it. But we also then got to go backstage, and we actually watched the entire show from the side, from the wings of the stage. So that was kind of a fun experience. Wait, if you played with them at the Goose last week, then how can they still be on your bucket list? The point is, it's got to still be on your bucket. You haven't done, but Corey, you've already done that. So you got to check off the heathens. But that's awesome that you got to meet them and play with them. Our guest today, Matt Bays, also was at the Goose. So that's fun. Kate and I were this close to going, but couldn't make it happen. James says Matchbox 20, great choice. Imagine Dragons also, James says these are good. And then I think Susan liked my John Denver mess up, and she said, actually, yeah, John Denver sounds good. All right. Thanks for sharing, everybody, your bucket list for concerts. May you one day check those off. All right, really quick, I want to remind those of you who already know this and inform those of you who do not know this. But 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago this month, this is going to be the 5-year anniversary, my first book, UnClobber, I was looking around because I thought I had, it's way back there on the bookshelf. I'm not going to get to it. My first book, UnClobber, Rethinking Our Misuse of the Bible and Homosexuality, was released. And since then, I have done a number of things with it, including creating these one-page cheat sheets, which tries to distill all the information into this easy-to-read PDF. You can go to unclobber.com to check that out. And then a couple months ago, I took all of that content and I released an online course that I've been having just the most fun with sending out into the world and hearing back from people who are taking these courses and are finally like being completely liberated from the toxic theological crap that is a non-affirming stance, which is to say using the Bible to justify discrimination against LGBTQ people. That needs to end. We need to be done with that. And our guest today will share from his own life just how damaging it is when people use religion and or the Bible to discriminate. Anyway, so I've got these courses online that have been up there for a few months now. And shortly after, and you can go to unclobber.com and it'll take you to this page, or you can just go straight to courses.unclobber.com. In fact, I should have changed that before this began. To learn more, visit, I'm going to change it here on the fly, courses.unclobber.com. That's the actual URL. That'll take you straight there. Straight there. Look, the way we even use these words are problematic. Okay, but anyway, so I've got these courses, right? And I've released them, and people are, you can see right there on the screen, you can get the free intro course, UnClobber 101. And if you go all the way through that, it takes about 10 minutes, then you get a 20% off coupon. But then shortly after releasing it, there were folks that were saying like, well, what if we want to take a small group through this? Or what if we want to do this with a group of people? Do we like all have to get the course? And I thought that is not a feasible idea. So I worked with some folks who wanted to do, let's scroll down here, worked with some folks who wanted to do this. And I developed this group package option where you can purchase. Essentially what you're doing is you're saying, I want to run a small group or a group, whatever. And I just want to pay one cost. And then what I do is I create a custom landing page for you, for your group, that you can then go to and send all your people to, and you can just have unlimited access to the courses, and you can run the group as many times as you want for one price. So one price, and then you kind of, depending on how big your group is, so I've got 3 different packages. All the packages are the same in terms of what you get. It's just kind of like, hey, if you're a really tiny group and you have no budget, there's a reasonable option there. If you're a medium-sized group and you have a budget, package B. If you're a large group and you plan on running it multiple times, consider package C. But it's a great way to get multiple people to be able to run through these groups and only have to pay for it one time. So anyway, all that is at courses.unclobber.com. Like I said, you can snag the free 101 course right here. And if you, this is just a promo video. It doesn't. There's like 5 quick sessions there. But if you go through this whole thing,
the evangelical,
quiet, Colby, go away. Then you get a 20% off coupon, and you can use that for just mini courses if you want to just buy just Genesis or just Leviticus or just Romans or just Corinthians and Timothy, or you can get the entire suite. And the entire suite, you bundle, you get them all together, you save money, and plus you get access to my course on Unix. And who isn't craving right now a little mini course on Unix in the ancient world? Okay, so that is my reminder for those of you who already knew, and maybe an announcement for those who don't know, that you can go to unclobber.com, or even more precisely, courses.unclobber.com, and you can check out the all-new UnClobber online courses, and specifically calling attention to the groups program. All right, so that's exciting. Ben has a great question. Am I getting outcry from the gay community as a straight man trying to speak for the queer community? That kind of stuff infuriates me. Just wondering if you're hearing anything. Yeah, that has been, I would say, one of the most frequent pieces of feedback that I get. And I appreciate your commentary there on calling it stupid outcry. And as sometimes it has felt like that. But what I've tried to do with that, Ben, is I've tried to listen. What is that feedback saying? What is that criticism saying? And I can with all sincerity and honesty, receive that feedback from people and say, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Like, I get why that would be, why people would take issue with that, why that would be hard for some people. It makes a ton of sense. Like, there is a lot to be said for those who are in the more privileged and more majority positions, who have historically sort of been at the center of everything, or at the top of the hierarchy, whatever model you want to use. There is much to be said for that individual should just get completely out of the way, just sit down, shut up, and not take up any more space. And I think there are times where that is absolutely appropriate. What I've tried to do with this book, and whether I succeed or not, I don't really know, but what I tried to do with this book was tell my own story. So part of the UnClobber book and course is my story of moving from an evangelical Christian who was using the Bible to justify discrimination toward an open and affirming stance. And so that's my story. Like, I get to tell my story. But then the part where I engage with the Bible and the Clobber passages specifically, what I never try to do, Ben, and this is even in your question, have people from the gay community been frustrated that I try to speak for the queer community? Yes, they have been frustrated that I've done that, but I don't think that I do that. I don't speak for any community. What I do is I use my years of research and scholarship and education to target these passages that historically have been misused to discriminate. And I say, we've gotten it wrong. We need to stop using this. So part of it, sometimes people that offer that feedback or criticism just don't understand the nature of my work, which is fine. Again, I don't begrudge, I don't belittle people if that is their posture. Like, I can hold that. I'm not for everybody. My work's not for everybody. And I understand that sometimes for some people, they just need, like, I ain't going to invest. I'm not going to listen to one more straight white dude. To which I say, that makes a ton of sense. I completely understand that. But then I think the biggest thing for me, Ben, and there's so much I could say about this, but I want to get to our guest. I think the biggest thing for me has been, since the book has come out, one of I would say the most frequent piece of feedback that I've received, more than any other encouragement or gratitude. The most frequent thing that I've heard, Ben, is this. It has come from gay, lesbian people who have said, I've read some of the other books, I've read other resources that are written by queer people. And they said, but it wasn't until reading your book, because you are a straight pastor, that I was finally able to sort of let go of some of these bad interpretations. Or I was finally able to heal from some of that trauma because it came from a straight pastor. And I think that sort of phenomenon makes a ton of sense for all sorts of reasons. But I think there is a unique way that my work and my voice can, for some people, not all, again, not for all people, but for some people can, because it was the straight pastor dude who caused the harm. Sometimes there's a type of healing that can only come from a similar source, but one that's safe and loving and non-judgmental. So anyway, when people want to genuinely engage with me on that, sometimes they just want to lob their hate grenade, or not hate grenades, but they're just their points of pain and frustration. Sometimes they just want to lob it at me and move on. And that's fine. I can hold that. But when people legitimately want to engage with me, then I feel like there's some interesting conversations we can have around that. So I hope that made sense. Dave says, I read the book. Worth doing the course too? Totally up to you. I mean, some people, reading is great for them and they can read a book, and the book's certainly a lot cheaper. And they can receive all they need to receive and they're good. Others, books are hard to read, or the material, their learning style works a lot better in terms like having someone sort of teach it to them. And the courses go a bit deeper than the book is able to do. And also I should say, let me go back to that scene real quick. Also, I should say that from the get-go, these things were always intended to be available for free for those who need it. So yes, it did cost me a bunch of money to make it, right? So I can't just give it away. I don't have independent wealth. I'm not a wealthy person. So I can't just give it away. But for those who need it but can't afford it, there's a scholarship program. All you got to do is just say, actually, you don't have to say anything. You just have to sign up. You just have to say, get UnClobber free. And then you put your name and your email address in and you get it for free. No questions asked. Just look, if you need it or you want it and you can't afford it right now, it's yours. I never want money to be a barrier to wholeness and well-being. Ever, ever, ever. And then conversely, BT dubs, if people believe in this mission, not only can you access the courses for free through scholarship, but you can become a sponsor. What? And I know some of you have done this where you can...
Hey, Colby here.
Yes.
And this short video...
Quiet. You can become a scholarship sponsor, and that's pretty cool. So you can say, hey, I believe in this work and I love that you give it away for free. So let me help cover some of the costs. And you can be a partial sponsor. You can be a full sponsor. You can be a legacy sponsor, and you can be a part of resourcing people who need these courses and can't get them for whatever the reason. Okay. Anyway. So, Dave, it's up to you if you want the course. Some people prefer it to the book, and others are like, nah, I read the book. I'm good. Okay, that is the end of all of my segments. Really quick, I want to draw attention to this week's perspective shift. If you haven't yet read it, go to colbymartin.substack.com. Side note, that URL is going to change soon. It's going to be perspectiveshift.co, but we're not there yet. So for now, go to that. And this week's perspective shift is from our guest today, Matt Bass, and it's an excerpt from his book, Leather and Lace. And so if you haven't had a chance to read it, please go read it. I've already seen several people leave comments about how grateful they were for you, Matt, sharing this. So it's really resonating with folks. Tell some great insights and stories into some of Matt's initial experiences with coming out and experiencing pride for some of the first time. So it's a great excerpt, and there's links there to check out Leather and Lace, and go check it out, y'all. colbymartin.substack.com. You can read them all for free, or you can subscribe, and then you get Perspective Shift delivered straight to you every Wednesday in your inbox. All right. I would like to now bring on our special guest, because that is why at least 47 of you have joined us today. Let's get into it, everybody. Let's welcome our guest. That was the wrong bumper. Let's try it one more time. Let's welcome our guest. Do people still say psych? Like when they do the wrong thing? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I feel like I wanted to like all that to happen and then me be waiting like this.
You should have. It's not too late. We're going to recreate the moment. And now bring on our guest. Oh, you went all
Is
the
that
way
close
in.
enough?
You brought it all the way in.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm shifting around here.
That's fine. Oh, shift. It's trademarked. Can't use that without royalties.
There we go.
Yeah, great. You look great. And you got a little tie on. Y'all,
Yeah.
during the tech check, Matt just showed up like in a white tee and a ball cap. And I'm just like, oh, I like your casual. But then in between, you went and got all gussied up, which
Do you
looks
wanna know the
fantastic.
truth?
Yes, I want to know the truth.
You've got all that stuff going on in the background there, all looking all.
Uh-oh.
And how old are you? You look like you're 30. I was like, oh shit, I gotta go get some clothes on and look nice. Oh, I'm not allowed to say bad words, am I?
No, you can. Yeah. No, this is an adult show. You're fine.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Well, thanks for getting
thank
all
you so much
dressed
for
up for
having
me.
me on.
Are you kidding? This is a delight. Just one more shout out to Mercy Morgan for just connecting us. She doesn't, you guys don't know each other, right? She just knows of you.
Through social media, is where we connected, and she's just been hugely supportive and appreciated it.
She's fantastic. In fact, we could just have a 5-minute let's talk about how great Mercy Morgan is session if we wanted to. But so she just connected us, which I'll be honest, sometimes that doesn't go well. You know, when you've got a person who like starts a group thread. Like I hate group texts, by the way, but even like group messages can get real awkward real fast when you're like trying to introduce and one person's like, keep me out of it. But
when they never reply.
And you can see that they've seen it. They saw it Tuesday at 12:52 p.m. and then just nothing. Like, okay, so they didn't want to meet. That's fine. Right. But exactly. I'm glad we met.
I don't know what the delay is like on my screen. There's a big delay, but maybe there's not for you. And I can just ignore it and go on.
I apologize. I meant to tell you that during our tech check-in is that sometimes the guests experience a delay just on their part of their window on their end, but there's no delay for us. You're totally good.
Okay, great. Perfect.
So just ignore yourself and focus on me.
I am. I've got you. But I wanted to say something, if I could, just from the beginning of when you were responding about a straight man addressing, the plight of the LGBTQ plus community. And I've really felt like I want to say something here because, I have been saying to a lot of my evangelical friends, we need you. And we can't do this all on our own. We need some other people to come hold our arms up, and to those people who are secretly affirming, but that don't talk, in public about that. Yeah. Like, it's time, baby. Like, come on out and tell us, that you support us, and tell others. That's how things start changing and things start getting normalized. And so I just want to say a real big thank you to you who didn't need to do this necessarily, because it wasn't your personal story of being gay and being in hiding, being in the closet, all that, but that you kind of went to bat for something that you knew was important. So blah, blah, blah. Thanks for that. There is nothing wrong with straight people addressing this issue. I'm real clear about that.
Yeah. I really thank you for that, Matt. Thank you both personally, what you said, and then also for speaking into that that conversation. As I mentioned, I still do hold space, and I understand the pushback for those for whom they just want nothing more to do with straight dudes, and they just think you've taken up way too much oxygen. You've been centered long enough, just get out of the way. And I think, you know what, that makes a ton of sense. And sometimes that's true. Like, right, if I could foresee a scenario in which I am taking up way too much of the space. And so I've tried to be thoughtful about how to, elevate other voices and show and highlight, like, I've tried to be like, it's not just me doing this work, but I don't want any cookies. That's not the point. The point is there's a version of me doing this work that I think could get too bent towards one way that would really then be uber deserving of the criticism of straight dudes, sit down, shut up. So,
Yeah. Gotcha.
but I'm with you. I think we need all the voices. I think we need all people. We need people who have access and privilege and power, not only to diverge of that or divest of that and give it to others, but also use it to help change, to help push the buttons that only they can push and turn the levers that and say the words that might actually be the only way that some people can hear it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about yourself. Who are you, Matt Bays? As I mentioned a minute ago, we don't know each other, so this is our get to know you. But give me like the not the back of the book, not even the Wikipedia. Give me the version, like if I were to talk to one of your best friends and say, "Tell me about Matt," what would they tell me?
Oh my God.
What would they tell me?
My best friend would probably say mean things just
I
to
want to
be
hear
funny.
it.
Yeah. No, so for people that do the Enneagram, I'm a 2.
We're big Enneagrammers around here, so yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then for people who do Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFP, which is sort of like for the most part, just a happy-go-lucky, guy. But so I'm an extrovert. But I have to have some introvert in me, I think, or something. I think ENFPs are the only ones that, as extroverts, that process their feelings like introverts.
Oh,
so that's where the writing thing comes in for me. It's not hard for me to sit down and write. I really, really love it. But I was. Let me just say a quick few things. So, like many people that are probably listening or that will see this, I grew up in an evangelical church, really, really conservative. It was just like where you never really felt like you got full access to Jesus because you were sinning, and you'd lost your faith, blah, 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 all that.
Was there a specific version of that, or was it just generic? Was there a denomination?
I was in Church of God Anderson, but all of those churches they're very different. Like you can go into, but it's evangelical.
Did you say Church of God Anderson?
Like Anderson, where Anderson University is a real small liberal arts, Christian liberal arts college in Indiana, north of Indy.
Okay. Oh, so that's the name of the church. That's not the name of a denomination, or is that like a branch?
The denomination would be Church of God Anderson.
Oh, I didn't know
like Church of God, Anderson.
Okay.
Because there's also Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Interesting. What's the difference? Is it just geographic difference,
one is
or do they have?
Pentecostal.
Oh, okay.
The one in Cleveland, Tennessee is Pentecostal, and my denomination is like, we don't want anybody to think us we're those people.
Oh, really? So were you?
Oh, yeah.
It was emotions were like.
Oh, we were better than them.
Okay.
You see,
of course. Yeah. Didn't get swept away by those feels. Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway, I went to Nazarene school for 2 years, and then AU for 2 years. And got out and started the ministry. I led worship full time for 27 years and did some of what you were doing, where I was in my last 12 years in ministry, 9 in a mega church near Indianapolis, and then the last 3 at a large United Methodist church that was affirming. The other church was not affirming. Great place, good people, but yeah. So I started there in 2006, and my theology on homosexuality was evolving. At that time, I was pretty clear that I was an affirming person. However, I had been married for a lot of years. I was married for 23 years to a woman, a good woman, and had 2 girls. I have 2 daughters who are 20 and 22. And so this whole process was complicated, but while I was in that church serving in this, you're in front of thousands of people. You've had this experience, I'm sure, every weekend and in a town where everybody knows your name. And so I'd sort of built this little following and wrote this book and released it. And all of my support and all of the people who, were like sharing my stuff and kind of lending support were evangelical people. And so when I came out, Colby, I think it really challenged some people because, like I said, I'm a 2 on the Enneagram, and I really love people, and I really earnestly care if they are in pain, like, because of my own history and my own story. And so I think people were faced with this, like, oh shit, like, Matt's gay. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't reconcile my theology with this person who's loved me, cared for me, and that I love and care about. So, I mean, that's part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Of proximity, really. I mean, people can read your book, which I have not read. I didn't know it was out there, and I absolutely am going to get it. But
Do you want to stop so you can go read it? I'll wait.
oh my God, you're so
Yeah.
lovely.
We'll just pick this up in a couple hours.
Perfect.
Can I ask you some questions about what you shared so far?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
So for those who didn't know up until this point, yes, you lived as a straight person for most of your life.
Yeah.
And like you said, got married and were married for over 2 decades and had a family. And all this time, tell me, like, what was it like for you? Was there a point growing up where you sort of intuited and knew and understood yourself to be gay? Or was that a concept that was so foreign to you that you just sort of felt out of place, but you didn't necessarily have words for it? Or was there an explicit, like, anti-gay teaching in your growing up? Like, what was your relationship to your sexuality growing up?
So this is a question that is so common for people to ask, and I appreciate you bringing this topic up because people will ask, when did you know?
Okay.
People want to know.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an element of us, because we like categories and we like to tidy things up and, like, just explain to me. But there is, and I think a lot of queer people would say this, there is so much subtlety around this. I was aware of my attraction, as aware as I could be, for boys at a very young age, but I didn't understand it at all. So the awareness doesn't necessarily lead to having these internal conversations with yourself or asking the questions. But I came from, sexual abuse. And so what ended up happening for me is I really believed, and I think it created a loophole, the sexual abuse did for me, that gave me sort of handles of why I was feeling same-sex attraction. It must be because of the abuse, and so that's where I sat for a very, very long time. But as I progressed into my 20s, into my late 20s, after I was married, I started to realize that those things weren't necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
Because I knew plenty of people that were same-sex attracted that hadn't been abused. And for me, it always just felt like sort of safe to say that, which may sound crazy. But so I wasn't almost fully ever aware. I came out at 46 years old.
Yeah.
And even then, I was still asking the question of, God, just tell me, am I gay? And now it makes perfect sense. And this is from my book, where the only answer I felt God speaking to me was, when I was saying, just show me, is, show you what exactly? What else am I supposed to show you? You already know. And if you really think about it, you've always known.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I had access to that.
Sure.
And so once I was able to strip away the consequences of the decision to come out, and once I was ever able to kick everyone out of the room except for me and God, that's my kids, that was family members, and all of these people I'd led over the years, and mentors, everyone goes out of the room but me and God, and am able to ask that question. I already knew the answer. Yeah. And it was just the truth. The truth is just the truth. That's all it is. It's not informed by consequences. It's just the truth. So I had to stay there first. And that's how I sort of was able to figure this out.
No, thank you for sharing that. I there was a point where you're like, I think you said, "Does that make sense?" And I just wanted to be like, "Yes, it makes total sense. Of course." Like when I hear a story like yours, and I know that I just got the tip of the top of the iceberg, but when I hear a story like that, all I want to say is, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Of course you would, and then fill in the blank. Of course you would connect early childhood sexual trauma to anything in you that might have felt not normal, which is to
Yeah.
say,
Well,
not what you see reflected in your school, not what you see reflected in the TV shows and
yeah.
on the radio, anything that doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
Of course, the brain would be like, well, it's because of that.
Right. And honestly, I was told that by well-meaning therapists,
Mm-hmm.
very well-meaning people that were like, yeah, that's probably it, and I don't know how to say this, but in the right way, but I don't give a shit if that's what caused it.
Right? I love that answer. Someone in the back, give him an amen, because I
You
think
know
that's
what
a
I'm
really,
saying?
I do. And I think it's a brave and powerful answer.
And what? And this is how I feel,
Yes.
and this is who I am,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So moving on.
Yeah. I wonder how this resonates with, thank you for saying that. I wonder how this resonates with you. I remain somewhat convinced that whatever a particular person's sexual orientation and or set of attractions might be, it's some mysterious, glorious combination of nature and nurture. It is not one or the other. Like it all belongs into shaping
Yeah.
who we are. And
Yeah.
for me, I even take it a step further to say, really, I don't think there's any such thing as gay, as lesbian, like these categories where you are just sort of stamped into one of these boxes at some point along the way. Really, I think there it is a beautiful, glorious spectrum. And we use these
Yeah.
very helpful terms to just identify that I am only really attracted to this set of population. I'm
Yeah.
only attracted. And so these terms, we need them. They're helpful and they're useful. But they're
Yes.
also like, you were just
Yeah.
Matt. Like you're Matt freaking Bays. I think that's your middle
True.
name. And through nature and nurture, you have a
Yeah.
unique sort of sexual orientation and preference. And I love how you say like,
But I am going to say, I love my category.
I love your
Yay.
category too. It all
I
belongs.
feel like I've earned it.
Yes.
But no, I get you with the
Yeah.
whole spectrum thing. It's great to think about it that way. And I think one day, I've even noticed it with my daughters, where I've said things like, "Oh, your friend, whatever, is he gay?" And they're like, "I don't know, is he gay?" Like they don't even care.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not even thinking about somebody's sexuality. And I think that's where we're heading, which will be a beautiful thing. I think,
Yeah.
25, 30 years down the road, people are going to be like, why the hell were we like so concerned with naming what everyone was,
No, and I appreciate you politely pushing back. Yes, I often say we need labels until we don't, right? And so we need them.
Yeah.
We need them. They're super important,
Yeah.
and they bring power. They bring liberation. And with any label, eventually it might feel constricting, but for a time it gives us a sense of belonging and safety. And damn right you earned that label and own it.
For so long, people have said, what is it? Like, what do you mean gay is who you are? Heterosexual is not who I am. And I'm like, oh, shut up.
Oh, God. You know not of which you speak. Yes. Like, be quiet. Your ignorance is showing.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't need to go down that road.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you frame it, and I really loved how you shared that. Your story, you framed it as like, you came out publicly at 46, but even in that, it sounded like your own inner journey, there was just a process for you of settling into who Matt, I want to say who Matt is, but really who Matt always has been and who you had been disconnected from. You were living a version of Matt Bays that sounds like it was heavily influenced by culture, by trauma, by religion. Like,
Yeah.
here's some outfits we would like you to wear. I don't care if they fit well or not. Here's what you're going to wear. And at
Yeah.
46 or so, you're like, actually, none of these outfits are really me. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing that went over really well with your church. They probably said, we're so glad, Matt,
Um,
that you finally come to that.
I love that church for how it took care of my family and how good they were to me. And it was a wonderful time in ministry where I got to focus in on it. It was just it wasn't a complicated place to work. There were really a lot of beautiful things about that church and my
Oh,
experience
good.
there, which I appreciate. You know, but I wasn't out. And I left that church right before I came out. So
Okay.
the impetus for me coming out
Gotcha.
was my sister passed away, which is a big story in Leather and Lace. She's sort of a guide on this road trip. But when she passed out, I mean, it's as cliche as it is, it was that whole life is freaking short,
Wow.
and I can't do this anymore. I want to live honestly, and figuring out how to get in touch with all that took some time. But yeah,
Okay.
but you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's get into see the book behind you. Do me a favor and hold it up to the camera. Show everybody this beautiful cover, Leather and Lace. There's a link in the description below, everyone, so you can easily access the book. Leather and Lace, a gay man, lost love, and a road trip
And a road trip
with his
with his
dead
dead sister.
sister. What does that
Yeah.
mean, Matt Bays? Can you tell us what does it mean to have a road
Yeah.
trip with your dead sister?
Yeah. So I already told you there was sexual abuse in my family of origin. And I mean, it was a real shit show. And when that happens, a lot of times you get really close with your siblings. I also lost my brother when he was 23 and I was 21.
Wow.
And my sister died of breast cancer. And her and I were she was my person. We were very, very tight. And so I knew one day I would write more about that experience, but I didn't want it to do it too early. She died in October, on Halloween Day of 2016. And when I began the process of writing this book, I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but I thought it was going to be sort of a process through that grief. But it became something else entirely. And so there's a hopping around that happens, different time frames from being a child, and all these different time frames that happen in the recent past, and then the way past, and then currently where I am now. And so there are a lot of scenes with her as a child, what was going on, and then also sort of calling on her presence today to support me through this wild trip that I was on to understand myself, my place in the gay community, all that entailed with I had so many people that were like, dude, this is your chance, go crazy. You need to get on the apps. So that was a whole process.
Okay. And how was what was your response to, dude, you need to get on the apps?
Well, they were like, seriously, you need to let the rest of this religious bullshit go,
right.
And just let yourself be and experience and explore and all that. And it's all in there. But, I'm a grown ass man. I have
That's
two
right.
children.
Yeah.
This is not my end game. Was a relationship, not just,
Yeah.
It wasn't all of that, but I had to go through the process of looking at that and seeing what it was like. So I really love writing.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of those scenes of being on the apps, people I was meeting, all that stuff is in there. It's juicy.
Okay. Get the book, y'all. Get the book. So
yeah,
I want to go back to what you said, which the sort of the catalyst for this event. So your sister passes away now almost 5 years ago. And talk me through, you said that as cliche as it sounds, you're like, life is short. Like, it sounds like that really was a significant catalyst for you to shifting away from the version of Matt Bays that you've been performing for the church and the world and society. It was really the loss of your sister that caused you to sort of that introspective, I need to find out who I really am and live from that place. Did I understand that correctly?
I was so tired
Yeah. Oh,
already.
God,
Like, and if you read, like I was doing a lot of blogging and really developing my writing career because I knew that that's probably what was next outside of worship leading. And, I was being much more open about like I started reading Brian McLaren and all of these, Doug Paget, like all the people, Leslie New years ago, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and everything had shifted then. So to be at 2014, 15 and still existing on this spiritual diet that was a prescriptive faith, I was nowhere close to who I knew that I was, but I still existed and served in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
And I was dying, not to mention this, carrying this around all of these years and just trying to, God, it's exhausting. And I don't think people always understand how exhausting it really is, because I loved my family and, that's been a hell of a journey trying to figure all of that out. But yeah, I forget what the question was or even where I was going.
Yeah, just you made the comment that the loss of your sister was the catalyst for you to be like, I need to make a change in my life.
Yeah, it was. Well, and so when she died, and a lot of people do that, when somebody close to them dies, you go inside, man, and you try to look at things, and a lot of times change comes out of that, and people will call you crazy for it. Like, always just grieving. He went crazy. He lost his mind when his sister died.
Yeah.
I know I have people out there that still believe that, but I don't think they understand that sometimes those moments can be tremendously clarifying.
Yeah.
And it was for me, and so the journey began then, and here I am today. I've been married for a month.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
I'm married.
Way to bury the lead. You got married a month ago?
I know. I shouldn't have said that.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. One month yesterday.
Holy freaking
cow.
You'll
have to get on my Facebook and check out my hunky husband.
Yes, please. Will do. What's his name?
Chris Evans, if you can believe that.
I can't believe it. That's fun.
Not the Chris Evans. This is the better Chris Evans.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. How did you and Chris Evans meet? Was it on said apps?
It was.
Yes. They have merit. They have value.
But listen, when we were doing our vows at the wedding, my oldest daughter was sitting front row, and I said, I wasn't trying to be funny. I just said, when we met on Tinder, and she was like, ha ha, and then everybody starts rolling.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know that there was anything funny about that, but yes, that's a much cleaner app though.
Yeah. Well, I trust you. I met my wife in middle school, so there were no apps. I've never dated really before. We didn't,
you're fine
together romantically till later in college. But my point, we often say, like, if we were single today and on the apps looking for connection, like, ain't no algorithm in hell would pair the two of us together. Like, we're so different. And, we've found through our 18 years of marriage and 20 years of being together, we found great compatibility, and we make it work, and we do really well together. But, oh man, like, there's no algorithm that would ever suggest us. And I wonder about that sometimes with individuals who are relying on algorithms or apps to match them. Like, you don't, and this is my impression of it, not you personally, but the person on the app, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you're looking for. Like, you don't really know. Now, you might have a clue when you've been married for 2 decades that gives you a much
Yes.
better sense on what you do and don't
It
want.
it
I'm more
really
talking to
does.
like the 21-year-old version of myself
Oh,
where you're like, you don't know what you want. Like, that's when I'm kind of like arranged marriages. Hey, there's some merit there. Like, here's your partner.
oh
Now
my
make it
God.
work.
It's been interesting because, I'm a really committed person, and like I was planning on being married until I died, but that wasn't the story and how it happened. But
Yeah.
I do often wonder how people at 21 and 23, which is how old I was when I
Yeah.
got married,
Yeah.
23. It's like you just don't know your head from your ass. And if you've like experienced a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
a lot of the ways and the choosing that you do is out of those kind of things. So you have to heal some of that stuff up. It's like
It's
nobody
so
should get
true.
married that early. Or
Yeah.
second marriage, everybody's like, boo, second marriages are awful. And I'm like, well, there's something different about a relationship. So it was real simple for me. 3 non-negotiables, that I really knew I needed in a person. One was that it was a man.
Okay. Yep.
Just
It's
kidding.
great.
No, 3 non-negotiables, so maybe 4
I was going to
non-negotiables.
say, but that one's got to be in there, right? Like, I don't want the
Yeah.
story to sort of repeat itself.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Let's keep it a man. And then, there's some other things involved in it, but God, some of that is in the book too. I'm not really trying to overly sell this book, swear to God, but
Who else?
there,
If you don't oversell it, Matt, who is going to? Like, you got to believe in the thing. So oversell the
I
thing.
do. I
Oversell
do.
it.
But the takeaway in this book was with a therapist of a few things that he asked me
Yeah.
that helped me to clarify, because there's a breakup in here. I was with somebody right after I got married for 2.5 years, and that relationship ended, and I was devastated
Mm,
by it, and it felt like a 1 in a million soulmate kind of relationship.
yeah.
And, as a romantic, I mean, that's what we all hope for, right? But we got to do the math and realize that 1 in 6 billion people is going to be, tough to crack the code on that and find that person. But I came to really understand some different things about that just seemed much more pragmatic, and I just think helpful for people. Yeah.
I
But
love
it's
it.
not a how-to book. It is a companion book, because that's how I write. It's a sort of a me too, you're not alone in this journey. I felt these ways too, and I'm a lyrical writer. So it's a lot of story and a lot of putting words together in a beautiful way
Yeah.
that resonate in people's hearts is what I love to do.
Yeah. You had this line in the article. So again, everybody, I mentioned go check out the Perspective Shift article from today because the guest writer was the one and only Matt freaking Bays. And you had this line in there. Let me see if I can find it. I bolded it because I liked it so much. Well, first of all, I loved the moment where you talked about having compassion for, for people who aren't there yet, aren't in their affirming theological place yet.
Oh yeah.
I could just feel your growth mindset, right? We
Yeah.
talk to our kids, the growth versus fixed mindset, where it's not that you suck
Yeah.
at math, you just aren't good at math yet. Like you'll get there, like growth mindset. And I love the
Yeah.
compassion that you have. And you have this line where you, like in parentheses, you say, I swear there's so much compassion within gay people. And I read that and that resonated so deep for me because I have like where I'm at now in my life. I don't know if a majority of my friends are queer, but it's pretty darn close to 50. It doesn't matter. Like I'm surrounded, queer people are my people down here. And that strikes so true to my experience as well.
Yeah.
The amount of compassion that queer people hold within their very bones, within their very being, and they ooze it. And I think oftentimes like they ooze it gratuitously, which is to say like you don't owe people that much compassion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I think
Well,
oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to wrap it up because I've held you for long enough and it's 3:00 and I think my internet is also dying. it looks like something's
okay.
happening to my screen here. So what I'm going to say, everybody, is one more time, the book is Leather and Lace and you can get it now. There's a link in the description below. Go follow Matt on Instagram at Matt Bays Writer. What's your website, Matt? Because you can read more of your writings.
There's mattbayeswriter.com. There's Leather and Lace, memoir.com. Follow me on Facebook is a really great way to get
great.
all the information.
Great. I like you a lot. I'm glad we met.
We can be friends.
We can be friends. Yes. I didn't want to force it, but I'm glad you remembered to bring it back to that.
You did it, Colby. This is a very big day for us.
Yes. We are friend official. But Matt, I honor your story. I'm grateful that you put it down in this. I'm grateful that you shared it with us. I want everybody to go read it because I think it has power for all sorts of people who've experienced loss, people who've experienced what it's like living a different version of themselves for the sake of the world around them, people who have finally found sort of authentic living, individuals who still, like, if you haven't yet been convinced the way that religion can damage people, then, like, at this point, you may not get it at all. But anyway, thanks for being on the show, man. It's great to meet you.
Absolutely. This is awesome. Yeah. Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to meeting Kate. I mean, I've watched the videos and all that, but
we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
All right, bud. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.
Yeah. I don't know if the signal's weird for you all, but on my preview monitor, it got suddenly real pixelated and real blurry, but nobody has said anything. So maybe that's just on my end. Yes, Mercy, thank you so much again for connecting us. Mercy says, Matt's an achingly beautiful writer. I would agree with that. Definitely read Leather and Lace. Also, his first book is still one of my favorites. Love that. Matt referenced my wife, Kate, and we have a podcast / live show called The Kate and Colby Show. And tonight, and that airs on Wednesday nights, at least for the time being, which is to say tonight. Tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be joined by Dr. Joshua Black. And Dr. Joshua Black is the leading researcher in the field of grief dreams. And if you don't know what grief dreams are, you're in good company, because neither do I. But turns out they're a thing. And Joshua has been studying it and researching it. And I'm so excited for where the conversation is going to go tonight. And then next week on the altar, you'll just have to come back to find out. It's a surprise. All right. It's been so great to be with you. Thanks for hanging out. If this is your first time joining us on the altar, you're welcome every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. I'll be here in my garage studio with amazing people like Matt freaking Bayes. Thanks for being with us, everybody. We'll see you next week.